at the European University of Rome in history of pedagogy and assistant in Udine. Today I'm speaking about a short chapter from my doctorate thesis about Slovenian high schools after the First World War in former Austrian lands given to Italy. So, as you know, this is correct. Italy annexed after the armistice of Villa Giusti and after the Treaty of Rapallo in 1920, they occupied first and then annexed also lands inhabited not only by Italians but also by consistent non-Italian population, Germans in South Tyrol, Slovenian and Croats in the former littoral. We can say that there were no Slovenian high schools in Trieste, and neither elementary schools, because of the hard opposition of the Italian political elite that strongly fought against the opening of Slovenian schools in the city center. So Slovenia had only elementary school in the suburbs and on the coast. But it was open a Slovenian gymnasium, as we see in some museums, in Gorizia in 1913, and in 1908 also teacher schools in Gorizia. The Italian authorities were not ideologically hostile to minority languages. They tried to open German, Slovenian, and Croatian school after the war, and also during the war. But then they had to face the opposition of the local Italian elites that opposed. These are some images from the war. Italy occupied also some Slovenian areas in the western coast, particularly in the Tolmin district, in the Isonzo Valley. And also here, the army tried to open elementary schools as in Italian areas in the Friulian plain. Among Slovenians, it was impossible to open proper schools because of the lack of Slovenian teachers, that they were or in the Austrian army or escaped after the Italian invasion, or some of them were removed from their position because of political and national reasons, some prejudice, we can say. So for Slovenian children, 13 educatori, so 3 schools were open, and 1,397 of them out of 1,500 took part in this school experiment from 1915 till 1917, when Italy had to come back after the Caporetto battle. 2/3 of them joined also the Italian language free courses. Inside there were 23 teachers, usually Italian turbas, but also local priests and women. And because of the language problem, 25 guys made the maturity exams, 21 tests, winning grants to attend Italian high schools in the kingdom. I said that the Italian authorities hadn't previously particularly prejudice against minorities. This is the declaration of the military governor of South of Tyrol, Trentino and South Tyrol, after the war, promising the continuity in German education. And something similar was said also for Slovenes and Croats. But differently from Tyrol, there was in the former littoral, in the Giulia, the Italian name, as I told, a strong opposition from the local Italian elites that, as this American researcher, Dennis Maslow, said, noted, strongly influenced also fascism in the second years. The Julian fascism inherited from Austrian times a history of national struggles. This is these are the non-Italian schools in the former littoral. There were also German schools that were immediately closed because considered not a national necessity. They were not German plans, but Italian authorities put themselves the problem what to do with Slovenian and Croatian schools. During the war, the schools were closed. After they tried to reopen, the only school that was open without discussion was the technical school of Idria, considered a pure Slovenian town, and they tried to open also the teacher school from Gorizia to Torino. That was the problem of the Slovenian Gymnasium of Gorizia. How to reopen it and when reopen it. Italia didn't want to open it in so-called Italian towns. And the Italian towns were considered the towns with an Italian majority population. So Gorizia, Trieste, Capodistria, and so on. So it began a long and grotesque debate about the place of the seat. I'll analyze in the next slides this ridiculous debate, a mailing between the local civilian commissioner of some districts like Cesana, Ritorcina, Postovina, and so on. But maybe we need to do a slide is cut. Sorry. We can review a debate on the league of the Italian teachers of the littoral after the decision the questions of the municipality of Gorizia to ask for the opening of a gymnasium in Gorizia. The final decision of the government was to open 3 gymnasiums in 1913, an Italian, a German, and a Slovenian one. But the years 1911, 1912, Italian teachers and intellectuals asked about the importance of letter was from the director of the Italian University of Trieste, Baccio Ziliotto, a very aggressive irredentist politician that thought that it was a political necessity to ignore the Slovenian. It's not only that we don't want to talk Slovenian, but neither we ignore it. So the ignorance was considered as a trench, a weapon in national struggle. So the debates had two positions: the so-called trench fighters, like Ziliotto, and the homeopathic spirits, so the more open to dialogue. But in this second group, there were also some prominent personalities and also some Italian patriots. The first one to face the problem was Spartaco, that observed that Slovenia was every day spoken in Croatia, that there were a population that every day used Slovenia in their life, also among doctors, lawyers, banks, shops, and so. And pretend that Slovenia didn't exist was a gay lie. So it was an opportunity for Italians to study and to know Slovenia. Chico Zalapa was a writer, and he died in 1917 fighting in the Italian army. That was a notorious patriot. But he deprecated the Italian, he said, then conception of race superiority, which involved Italians in a way of disaster with ignorance. So he suggested to study Slovenians as a useful language, not the same level of Italian, he said, but it was a language with its dignity and to study. Among them, there was also the teachers of the Gymnasium of Pazin in central Istria, like Rebus and Villa Piccola. And it is very interesting and curious that among people in favor of Slovenia, there were the ones living in majoritarian Slavic lands, like Villa Piccola or Dudan from Split, was an Italian irredentist from Dalmatia that considered stupid ignoring Slavic languages, while, for example, Germans had trades and economical interest in the Balkans. Especially the Italians from the littoral and from Dalmatia had the duty to bring Italian economy and culture among the Slavs, and to do it was necessary. Was necessary knowing their languages. The only one that agreed the necessity to study Slovenia in a peaceful perspective was the socialist Vivante, that made a party with Switzerland, but he killed himself in 1920. This is maybe the more the first letter I found about the problem of the Gymnasium of Gorizia. This is a letter of the peripheral place like Idria or Tolmin, because with the risk to create to create the Slovenian elitism or nationalism. It was controversial also to move it to adoption of Cesana. The more preferable thing was to leave things at the present state and wait for better times. These better times would never come until fascism seized the power in 1922. This is the letter of the commissioner for the province of Gorizia, Michel Karin, that suggested adoption because we were linked with Gorizia by the railway and within the main Slovenian centers of the region. Other candidacies came from Cesana and Postojna. Postojna was considered too far from Trieste and too close to Ljubljana. But another hypothesis, very fine, it was Udine or Cividale or even Venice, so pure Italian places where Slovenian students could study in their language without being in contact with the Slovenian political circles or society. Then in the end, the commissioner of Cesana had a change idea and thought that maybe Cesana was not so bad in order to prevent transmigration of students from the littoral to Ljubljana and Zagreb. And Cesana was just in the middle, among Trieste, Friuli, and so it would be simple to influence Cesana with Italian culture, and so on. I think it was a very ridiculous debate that put in evidence the Italian ineptitude in govern a complex land like the littoral. Yes, the only possible solution was the end of our story was the seizure of power by fascism that in very short times decided for the closure of Slovenian, German, and Croatian, Russian, and even French schools in Madarosta, with the school reform of 1923. Okay, I'm sorry, this was not nice anymore. So, from 1928, non-Italian language was completely banned from Italian schools, while from 1923